Hey, everybody, welcome to Virtual Hangout. I'm so excited. I have an awesome guest today. You guys will definitely learn a lot from her, and you can follow her on Instagram because what she's doing, I absolutely believe, is phenomenal. And if you need this type of coaching and mindset work and confidence building, she's your girl. Introducing coaching with YaYa. How are you?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here, and I am great this morning. I'm great. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you. This is so exciting and fun for me. So, what we're doing today for the virtual hangout is really highlighting her business. I think she has a really unique story. And for a lot of you who are birthing businesses out of your experiences and your passions and your ability to not only say, this is what I've gone through, but that you have overcome that situation and now you're in a position to coach and to help others, I think is just truly phenomenal and continues to like be your own testimony, right, of your life, and then you're able to pour that into others. So that's what we're going to be talking about, but of course how she was able to turn that into a business. So I guess you can introduce yourself and tell us what you do, and I guess maybe start with like how you got started.
So I'm YaYa. Like she said, I am a confidence and mindset coach for women. And my story actually starts about like 2014. I was laid off from a job that I had for 6 years. And I tell people I was not prepared to be laid off. I know most people aren't prepared, but for me at that time, I was young, living check to check, didn't really have any savings. And when I lost my job, I thought I would just, be unemployed for a couple months and find another job. But that didn't happen. I was actually unemployed for a year and a half. And I was somebody who always prided myself on my career and being independent, taking care of myself. So not being able to do that for a year and a half and truly struggling, there was a point where I had like no money coming in. My rent was $1,500. I think all of my expenses all in for my car were like $500. So not having any money coming in, it was really stressful. And I basically went into a depression and I contemplated suicide a couple times. And it was a friend of mine that talked to me regularly, could tell something was different in me. And they said, I think you're looking at things all wrong. Like you're coming from a place of scarcity and you're looking at all the things that you don't have, but look at what you have and approach things with gratitude. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have no money coming in. I can't pay my bills. What do I have to be thankful for? And they said, well, you have a super supportive family. If you need something, you can call them up and they will take care of you. You have a fridge full of food. You have a reliable car. Even though you're going on interview to interview and you're not getting that job, you have a car that takes you there. You don't have to rely on friends or public transportation. And you have a warm, safe home to come back to. And I'm like, okay, you might have a point there. So I started like looking at all the things in my life that I could be appreciative of, even if it was like a friend that texted me just to see how I was doing, the little small things. And those things truly added up, and it changed the way that I started approaching things in my life. So I was grateful rather than like going on interviews with like this scarcity mindset. I'm like, I'm grateful that I had this interview and I know I'm amazing. And that really helped me change my mindset. And I say that changed my life because eventually I was able to find employment. It wasn't the salary that I wanted. I was actually making $10,000 less than what I was making before I was unemployed. So I still had to work 2 jobs. But I'm like, I got a job. It'll get me to where I need to be. And I just continued to like work. And during that time, because I was able to change my mindset, I started doing a lot of like studying and reading about mindset. I ended up speaking and talking to people about the power of your thinking and how if you change the way that you think, you can truly change your life. During that time, I got a couple certifications for mindset coaching. And last year during COVID, I was actually laid off from my corporate job. So once that happened, I was like, I guess this is the perfect time for me to go into coaching. I'm like, I have these certifications. I have tools and stories and things that I want to be able to share with other women. And that's really how I got into the confidence and mindset coaching. So I wasn't always confident. And I know that being able to work on your confidence and improve your mindset and truly change the way that you approach life and the things that you're doing, it can change your life, because it changed mine so much.
So you just said something that totally, like, we were talking before, right? But then when you just said it just now, I'm like, mind blown, right? Because what you experienced in, what was it, 2014 or 2015, you said, when you
Yep.
got laid off, is absolutely what people have been experiencing since 2020.
Right.
A lot of businesses just had to close. And we understood that because we're in a pandemic.
Right.
You have the tools. You have the experience to say, I went through this several years ago. I was able to get out. And here's what I did. And here's how I'm going to coach you. So you literally and I'm telling you this because I know it to be like absolutely true. My degrees, so I'm a business coach. My degrees are in counseling psychology.
Okay.
The psychology world is going crazy right now because we just cannot service enough people. And I'm saying we, even though I am out of that world officially, but I do coach. Like, I've used all my skills to help people build their businesses. But what you're doing is absolutely needed right now, because there's still a lot of people who decide, I can't afford a therapist, or I don't know how to get a therapist, or I don't have the insurance for it. They can hire a coach like you who can say to them, I've been there. This is what I did. I wasn't prepared. Like, who was prepared for a freaking global pandemic? Like, no one.
Right.
So your story is so relevant. And we were talking earlier about the fact that when you go live and like tell your story, this is why that leads you to clients, because they are absolutely in this space right now.
Right.
So for a lot of you, even if you didn't necessarily like lose your job and feel like you're in that like low point, for so many of us, we're pivoting. We're in a place of like change and all of that. And I want you guys to listen to her story, because there's so many of us. I'm going to say I'm blessed and very fortunate that I never really suffered with depression. And that was actually what I am a trained therapist to do. My clients dealt with major depression, like clinically major depression. I had postpartum depression. And then I also dealt with children in abandonment situations, because often it wasn't diagnosed depression, but it was definitely on that cusp. And my youngest client was either 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Because they were like abandoned by the parents, now living with grandma, and they needed somebody in between, or, they're living with a family member. So that's what I did, like, professionally.
This was my first time experiencing it when I got laid off. I had never had it before ever in my life. I didn't know how to handle it. Thankfully, I had a friend, like I mentioned, that checked on me all the time, and they could tell something was different, because I was embarrassed that I was depressed. I was embarrassed that I was struggling. I didn't want to like tell anybody, but I had those people who checked on me regularly and was just like, something's not right.
Yes. So I think what you're saying is like super salient. Like, these things catch us off guard, especially like my clients who were postpartum. Like, clearly you were, at least for a lot of those women, they were excited to have a child. And then the child came and it was like, oh my gosh, like, what is mentally happening to me? And so what I'm also saying is, for a lot of you who are listening and you just got caught off guard. I mean, so many of us were caught off guard from the pandemic. So many of us are caught off guard from all the consequences of the pandemic. Like, I personally have attended way more funerals in the last 2 years than I have attended, like, probably in the last like 10 or 20. And I'm also an ordained minister. So I can conduct funerals. And now
that's a lot.
I am at one, like, at least 1 or 2 a month. It's crazy. I've been at double funerals, because people are, like, families are getting COVID or getting sick. It's just a lot.
That's
Anyway, if you guys find yourself caught off guard, like what I don't want you to do is kind of like put what she does in a box,
yeah.
because she does speak to people who are in business and finding themselves dealing with the unemployment or dealing with those kind of struggles. But I want you guys to really be listening to how can this help you, one, and then also if you're in business, like, is there something that you need to birth out of what you know how to do that can help people right now, as the entire country is struggling? And my community is global, so the entire world
I love it.
is going through so much. So that just kind of hit me that so many people would need your services right now because of the pandemic, because your story absolutely mimics that. And so
Right.
we just don't want you to be embarrassed. Like, we know it's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Therapists are overwhelmed. Everybody is overwhelmed. And then you also still have coaches like
Right.
YaYa that you can turn to, who can help you get through this time. You don't have to justify to us why you're in this place. We're just here to like help you get over that hump and to, bring back some, I'm going to say, normalcy, right?
Mm-hmm. So I try to encourage, like, I'm really big on like advocating for mental health, because outside of the depression that I have, I've had social anxiety my whole life. I remember as early as like preschool. And so I try to share my story, tell people about the things that I've been through, because I haven't always been confident having social anxiety. And I'm like, don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't suffer in silence. If you are struggling, there are people that you can, sometimes it feels good just to talk to somebody, but there are people that are there to like help you. And I will say, like, I've been to being laid off twice now. When it happened in 2014, I told you it took me into a depression. Last year, when I got that call, hey, we're going to have to lay you off, I said, okay, thank you. I was fine with that. And I even talked to the CEO of the company since then. And he's like, I don't know what you've been up to. And I said, honestly, that was a blessing in disguise for me. I'm like, the other people struggled for me last year. Like, it was rough because I lost people from COVID, but I had a completely different mindset from what I had in 2014, because that's what I had been working on. So I was prepared this time. When it happened, I was like, all right, start my business.
Yes. And that's kind of the thing that I want people to hear too, is that especially for what you're doing, when you go through that and you're able to get over it, these are skills that you're learning for today. These are skills that you're learning for your life, so that you're able to better approach things and handle things and move forward quicker, right? Because you went through another layoff, but you were able to say, okay, thank you, and just go into like, I got this.
Right.
Versus like freaking out again. So this is not just an investment into like, oh, I don't know how to help myself. You're helping your life. Like, you're helping yourself develop the skills necessary to pull yourself out of situations and move forward confidently, right? Because you're a confidence and mindset coach, right?
Yes.
So you're helping people to move forward confidently. This is so awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So let's talk about what you're currently working on.
Okay. So I am relaunching. I took a couple months off, just handling lots of personal stuff. I recently relocated to a new state after living in Maryland for 20 years. So I am relaunching my group coaching program that is specifically for women entrepreneurs who are tired of playing it small, tired of self-sabotage, want to get their inner mean girl in check so that they can really have their business flourishing. That launches in October, as well as my one-to-one coaching. That is for any woman. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but if you are just struggling, you are doubting yourself, again, that inner mean girl, we all have her. If you're struggling with her, you know that you're self-sabotaging, or you know you want to accomplish things in life, but you don't feel like you have the confidence for them. I am here. So in October, I'm relaunching both of those, the one-to-one and the group program.
So tell us about this inner mean girl that you help us deal with.
We all have her. Some people like to refer to her as like an inner critic, but it's that voice that you hear inside your head. Maybe you're getting ready to do something that you've never done before, and they're like, "Are you sure you should do this? You can't really do this. You don't know what you're doing." Or, "No, don't do this. You're gonna fail. You tried to do it last time and it didn't work." It's that voice that tries to talk you out of doing things. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, they're trying to pull you back in. And a lot of times for us, she could be in the driver's seat. And if she's in the driver's seat, she is sabotaging our growth because she wants to keep us in that comfort zone. She wants to keep us safe. But that saying, like, growth happens outside of your comfort zone is so real.
Yes.
You have to break free from her. I tell my clients, put her in the passenger seat. We'll start with putting her in the passenger seat. By the time I'm done, I want her in the trunk, and I want you to have control. Like, don't give her the control, because she will talk you out of even the smallest things. So you need to be able to, like, recognize her first, like, see when she pops up, because sometimes she can be a lot louder than others, and then learn how to get her in control. And even myself as a coach, like, I still have an inner mean girl. She's there. But when she pops up now, I'm like, we're not doing this today. And instantly I'm like, get in the back seat. Like, I'm not letting you take control. And it's like, once you're aware of her and you learn how to handle her, it becomes easier and easier to deal with her. And then sometimes she gets quieter and quieter, which is what you want, because you want to be in control of your life and not let someone else do it.
Yes. So I think what you just said is powerful. Like, I know a lot of us deal with self-sabotage and, like, that inner critic and all of those different things. And what we don't recognize is that we don't have to. Like, we can learn how to take control of that. And the thing that I hear all the time, because I do business coaching, is people are like, well, I just can't do XYZ. And so I just challenge it. Why?
Right. Who told you that?
Who told you that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Because a lot of times it's not even our own voice. It's somebody else that had told us. And I found a lot of times it's something that happened when we were little. We tried to do something when we were little and somebody stopped us or told us, you're never going to be able to do that. And that stuck with you all the way to adulthood. And every time you're trying to do something, you think of what that person said. So, like, like you, I challenged them, like, who told you couldn't do that? Whose voice are you hearing when you're trying to do these things? And is it true? Because most of the time it's not true.
But even the other side, which is a place where you and I can speak from, is, so what if that's what you thought? Like, we're living in that place of, so what? Like, so what? I'm doing it scared. So what? I didn't think I could do this a couple months ago. I decided that this is what I wanted to do, or this is what I want in my path. And so I'm going to make it happen. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you make your life happen. Like, whether you're continuing to sabotage yourself or whether you're pushing to that goal, it's all about what you decided for yourself and for your path.
It is. Yep. You are in control. And that's what I tell people. If you change the way you think, if you change your mindset, you can change your life.
Yes.
Like, change your life.
That is so true. Awesome. So I do know that currently you have self-paced classes.
Yes.
So tell us about, because I know at least one that you told me about.
So you hear me talking about your inner mean girl. So I have a self-paced course that is actually called Slay Your Inner Mean Girl. It's for someone who maybe they don't have time for coaching, or they prefer to do things on their own. And so it is a 6-week self-paced course. Obviously, you can take longer than 6 weeks if you want to, but it's all about slaying your inner mean girl. And we start with self-love, because I think that you need to understand why self-love is important before you get, that's the foundation, before we build on all the other things that come with slaying your inner mean girl. And that comes with forgiveness. Sometimes we are holding resentment for someone else, or even for ourselves, for things, and learning about those limiting beliefs that we have. All of that stuff, the self-talk, the way that you talk to yourself is so important, because if you are, even when you stand in the mirror every morning, and if the first thing that you point out is, oh, look at your fat arms, or, ooh, you don't look that good, that affects your confidence. So it's like the way you talk to yourself is so important. So we talk about all of those things in the course, because I think it's important to being able to slay your inner mean girl. The way that you talk to yourself, the beliefs that you have, if you are able to change those and create more positive thoughts and positive beliefs, it helps every time that mean girl pops up. When she says, no, you can't do this, you're like, why can't I? Yes, I can. Like, get in the back seat. Like, it helps you be able to create those more positive thoughts that will make her smaller and smaller. And so that's what the course is all about, being able to regain control so that you can stop playing it small and stop self-sabotage, because we do it a lot without even realizing it sometimes. Sometimes things they're remote and we don't even realize that it's sabotaging ourselves. So
That's awesome. And the thing that I love about it is, especially in the community that you're building,
mhm.
the clients who would need your services, I think that self-paced is easily a way to start, because
Right.
when you're so, I'm going to say, full of crap, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you're so full of like the negative thoughts and all of this. Sometimes you're too embarrassed. And you and I were talking about this. You're too
Right.
embarrassed to admit the place that you're in. And so you feel like it's kind of like how some of us, we feel like we have to pre-clean the house before the cleaning
Yes.
service comes, or let me
Yes.
do XYZ to my hair before I go to the hair salon. This
Yep.
this course kind of makes me think of that. It's like, I can't show up this messed up and this jacked up. Like, let me do something on my own. And I feel like the self-paced class for a lot of people is going to be the answer, even just for them to start opening their mind, like, oh crap, I didn't even realize I was
Mhm.
doing this. I currently have a client who I'm helping do some, it's not even just confidence build. Like we just are doing so many different things together. But she is in a place where she felt like what she could see and the
Mhm.
limitations that were in front of her was just all there was.
Oh,
And
wow.
so her family is very religious. And
Okay.
so whenever they said something to her, she kind of just felt like they were throwing the Bible at her.
Oh,
And so she couldn't hear anything else. So it's like,
okay.
well, we drink and they don't. So they're just judging me. And I'm just like, but there's other things you could do. Like this clearly isn't taking you on the path you want to be on. And so
Right.
they go to the other extreme. But like she just had no clue that there were people doing other
Oh,
things.
wow.
And so I think the same is true in your category. It's kind of like I got caught off guard. Everybody, I always put up this front, I carry my Louis bag. Like I imagine this is your client, right? They have like all their nice stuff, their decent car, their
Mhm.
nails done all the time. And now I don't have a job, or now like this life
That
event
was me.
off
That was
guard.
me. I had the Louis bag. Hair was always done, all that stuff. And then I'm like, wait, I can't maintain this lifestyle. How else is going
I
to
mean,
happen?
look, I know a little bit about you because you spent 20 years literally being my neighbor. So I know
Yeah.
what my neighborhood looks like, right?
Yes.
We
So,
got the
yeah,
cute hairstyle on deck like every 4 to 6 weeks.
nails always done. Yes. So
It's
that was me.
it's a whole
Mhm.
thing. But the thing that I like about the self pace is that you can jump in, you can work
Mhm.
at your own pace, and then
Yep.
you can make a decision like, yes, I need this group. Yes, I need this one on one.
Yep.
And you can kind of do that from the comfort, like pushing yourself initially from the
Right.
comfort of your own home.
There's a lot of self discovery because with each module that you go through, there's homework and there's worksheets, and I ask you deep questions because in order for you to be able to like get to the source of why you're self sabotaging or why you have that doubt or fear, like you have to dig deep, go back into your childhood and figure out where things happen. So I ask you a lot of questions that make you do some self discovery, be more self aware, but it really gets you to a place where you are able to see why these things are happening and then learn how you can change them. And like you said, it's self-paced, so you can go at your own and you don't have to be embarrassed. I did it like the first round. I kind of did it with the students that were in it, and we had to write. I encouraged them to write a letter of forgiveness. And that whole time that we were going through it, something was bothering me and I couldn't figure out why. And I realized there was something that I needed to forgive myself for. So being able to write that letter of forgiveness was truly healing. And I was like, okay, now the coaching is helping me too. But it's
Yes.
something like you don't have to be afraid of it because there's so many other women that are out here struggling that have similar stories. They may have different stories, but they're self-sabotaging, they're afraid, they have self-doubt. And so that's what the course really helps you to be able to do some healing and some self-discovery.
That's awesome. So let's talk about your bigger goals. Like, where is this going? And I know you're celebrating a milestone around now.
Yes.
So
I'm
what?
celebrating my 1 year of full-time entrepreneurship. So yay. Super
Yes.
excited about that. The year like breezed by. You talked about growth. I want to continue to have clients on a consistent basis. Right now, I'm focusing strictly on like the one-to-one and the group coaching. I will probably add some more self-paced courses in there because I know as entrepreneurs, especially if you're a solopreneur like me, you wear many hats. You have a lot of stuff going on. And like I still want to have a life. Like I have that work-life balance. So it's not all business. So sometimes that self-paced is a lot easier. So I want to create more self-paced courses on topics that I know my clients also struggle with, but may not be covered in my coaching programs. And in my corporate world, so I was a corporate event planner and I love planning events. So I want to merge the two and do coaching and an event. So down the line, I would love to have a retreat because I'm all about community. I think having community, having women there that can like share their stories. I love to ask women like, how did you get into business? Because sometimes it's so inspiring when you hear somebody else tell their story or talk about the things that they're doing. So I know my next thing will probably be like planning a retreat for women.
That's awesome. So are you up for some spot coaching?
Sure, I'm always
What I
up.
do. And I've already had some like good aha moments with you. So
I
I
love
think
it.
the thing that I would tell you is absolutely what you've been through relates to people right now who are,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, trying to figure it out during this pandemic. So,
Mm-hmm.
kind of correlating your story to what people are currently experiencing, I think
Okay.
you'll grab a lot of attention that way, but also meet people where they are today, right?
Okay.
So, I would tell you to kind of focus a lot of your marketing on the current struggles and how
Okay.
that correlates to what you've been through, and this, and even sharing like what the steps were that you took and how they can utilize those same steps
Okay. I love
right
it.
now. So that's going to be like really great because that should give you a ton of content to speak
Yeah.
about right now because you can just break all of that down into small chunks.
Mm-hmm.
I know you and I talked about you having a membership group.
Yes.
And I think ultimately, as you said, this is the type of client that needs a community. They need
Mm-hmm.
to see other people who are a step or two ahead of them and
Mm-hmm.
possibly even a step or two behind so they can
Mm-hmm.
see their growth and
Right.
see like, okay, I got YaYa. She's been through this. Like, I know I can get through this, but then let me like be in this community where I feel like I belong and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I can relate to people here. And we're all striving to be in a better place.
Right.
So, as we were talking before, the membership for you is kind of more down the line,
Mm-hmm.
right? But here's
Yes.
some things you could do in the meantime to kind of help you grow that and also
Okay.
to grow your skill as a coach so that
Mm-hmm.
when it comes time to launch that membership, you're either going to decide, yes, this is absolutely for me, or girl, no. Because the reality is, like, for a lot of you listening, I do run a membership group. It's a business coaching community, right? So it's for entrepreneurs building business, all of that. However, for me, the person running the group, it is a constant um I have to constantly deliver, right? So I think you have to be in a place in your business where you're ready to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That means I have a membership full of people. They have questions, they have concerns. I'm running a community. I did intentionally decide to not do it on social media. Thank you, goodness, God, everybody. Because social media is totally starting to mute our voices, and you will
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
not building my business for you to tell me what I can and cannot talk about.
Right.
So I built it offline. So that's a whole process. But then I
Okay.
also have to deliver monthly and weekly content,
Yep.
keep them in the membership, and then also attract new people. So
Yes.
it's not, I don't
So
think of membership as a beginner sport. There definitely are people who have industries like I work with a lot of personal trainers.
Mm-hmm.
Membership for them is great because they can
Right.
have membership to their gym, they can have membership to other things, and
Mm-hmm.
they're fine with that because they're on a daily delivery,
Right.
right? But for a lot of
Mhm.
us coaches, we want to create and deliver, but that like constant delivery is something.
And constant delivery of like new things. I want to be able to like keep you interested. So I don't want to have the same topic. I want to be able to give you new things to think about.
So here's a thing that you said, which I think is like totally great and kind of that in between.
Mm-hmm.
One, you already have a self-paced class,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they can buy that and start to slay that inner mean girl,
Yeah.
start learning your inside language, and start understanding what it takes in order for them to get past that self-sabotage and kill that inner critic. But you said you would do more
Mm-hmm.
self-paced classes. So the thing that you can add to that is if you pay for a self-paced class, then you can basically be in a private community where you just show up for discussion. So you
Okay.
don't necessarily have to present something new. You
Okay.
can just go through, like, we're just going to go into like week one of Slay Your Inner Mean Girl.
Ooh, I like that.
And that way you're not creating something new,
Mm-hmm.
and the community is still just for people who paid. So
Okay.
it's a little bit of like taking the things from both. But if you
Uh-huh.
choose not to, like if you go on a month vacation and you're not showing up for discussion, you didn't promise anything because they're not paying you every single month. They pay one time, and
Right.
you're adding on these discussions as, I'm going to say, a bonus.
Mm-hmm. I
The
like
other
that.
thing you can do is they can get into this private Facebook group. I'm saying Facebook because I literally just like, you were talking about how young I look, but I was an original Facebook user when you had to have
Really?
college.
Yes. You have a college email, right?
Yes. So
Yes.
I was like, "Ooh, I have that. I'm gonna try the Facebook." Like I was like, "Ooh, I can do it." I I'm that I'm that old. I just dated myself. So and I was
That's
there
okay. We're
with
probably around the same age then, because I remember that. So yeah.
and then they started allowing you to connect to people at other colleges. I was like, "Oh yeah, my cousins. I got all these colleges on my profile." I was so cool, right? So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that's why I speak about Facebook. But wherever you can have a private group,
Right.
and this also is a community of people who spent money with you.
Mm-hmm.
If they spend money with you once, they're likely to spend money with you again. And
Mm-hmm.
they will be the audience that you will target for your retreats and for
Mm-hmm.
your workshops and for any other thing. You go to them first with kind of the exclusive first offer, and then you can go to the public.
Okay.
But whenever you offer a new self-paced class, you can teach one or 2 points out of that self-paced class. So the first one you said was 6 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's
Mm-hmm.
say you have 50 people in your group,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've released a new self-paced class. You can let them know this new class is on your website or wherever they can buy it. Link in bio. It's just a digital download from your link tree. And now you're going to discuss. You can tell them October 15th, we're discussing chapter one. That gives them a deadline, but also if they don't buy it and they show up for the discussion, they can be a part of the discussion, but then
Mm-hmm.
now they want to
No
pay
more.
for
Right.
the self-paced course because they
Okay.
understand it a little more and they got insight from you.
I love it. What in their appetite if they didn't buy it? It's a
Exactly.
little
And then
appetizer.
you're not coming up with anything new. You're just
Mm-hmm.
going to highlight a few things from that chapter and have a discussion about it. And you have to have it in a private group because what you're talking about is very vulnerable. Um,
Right.
so just private, and when they pay for the subscription, you can give them something in that they when they go to join your private group, they have to say it, and then you
Okay.
can accept them into the group. So whatever it is, you can do that. But that would be my way to tell you to start building that community that you
I
want to
like
build.
it.
And that,
I was taking notes.
yeah, and that becomes like your inner circle of the women that
Mm-hmm.
you go back to, that you pour into. I currently use a streaming service that
Okay.
allows me to stream into multiple places.
Oh,
So,
nice.
for example, I can stream to my public profile on
Mhm.
Facebook, my business page, and my free group on Facebook, all at
Okay.
the same time.
I
So
like it.
whenever I have content for all of them, I can do
Mhm.
that, or I can pick and choose where
Which
I want
one?
the content to go. So
Nice.
I can talk in general, and then I
Mhm.
can also go and talk privately in my groups.
Okay. I
So
love
that
that.
would kind of be your next step. Like,
Right.
share the discussion points that you're going to make, but don't have the discussion in public. Have the discussion in
Private.
private.
Okay. I like it. So
Yay!
I like it. I'm definitely going to utilize these.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you being here. I think we dropped a ton of nuggets. And the thing that I want a lot of you to walk away with is there are people, services, businesses absolutely geared up to help you right now. This entire country, the world, is really going through a lot. So you're not alone. And there's people like YaYa who are absolutely equipped to help you manage how you're feeling and how you're doing. And not necessarily in a therapy way, because if you come to me, we're getting a whole treatment plan. We're doing, we're going in, right? But for a lot of people, that's not the approach they want. They really want
Mhm.
to just tame and like just control that inner mean girl, as you said, and
Right.
put her in the trunk, right? So if you guys
Yes.
need help with that, I think YaYa is definitely the place to go. You can follow her on Instagram. Her name is
Mhm.
Coaching with YaYa. Did you want to have any final thing to share?
I want to thank you for having me. I love talking to you. It's been a great discussion. So thank you for having me, giving me an opportunity to talk to your community. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram. You can visit my website if you want to learn more about my programs. It's coachingwithyaya.com. So yes, thank you again for having me.
Of course, of course. And we're going to be looking for these self-paced classes and all of those things that you're going to have going on. So happy 1 year in business. That's
Thank you. So
and you
excited about
have to
that.
be celebrated.
Yeah.
And so now it's time to like make the goals and solidify them as you continue to grow. So
Yes.
that's super awesome. Thank you guys for being with us for this virtual hangout. Share it if you find some of the points to be things that you know your community could use or some of your friends and family would want to hear. And definitely follow her on Instagram, Coaching with YaYa. We will talk with you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.